In the world of antiques, one is bound to encounter an array of surprises, heartbreak stories, and occasionally, extraordinary discoveries. However, more often than not, the appraisal aspect of this business involves sifting through countless piles of ordinary household items from the 1890s to 1960s era. Despite this, there are rare occasions when a truly remarkable piece surfaces, providing enough excitement to keep one motivated every time the phone rings. Yet, what truly sets the antiques business apart are the captivating tales people share about their cherished possessions. These narratives have the power to make the journey of appraising the treasure far more valuable than the actual item itself. This time, instead of the phone, it was the familiar chime of an incoming email that caught my attention. Back in the late 1990s, emails were steadily replacing phone calls in frequency. The message came from a client who had something truly unique, a lidded serving bowl with a fascinating history. According to her, this rare heirloom had been brought over from England by her paternal grandmother during the 1920s. But the bowl's story went even further back in time. The bowl's origins could be traced to her great-uncle, a solitary bachelor who spent many years at sea as a sailor. He had sent this very bowl back from one of his voyages along the Pacific Rim during the 1890s. Sadly, not much was known about him, as he had distanced himself from the family and ultimately passed away at sea. Consequently, the details surrounding the bowl were shrouded in mystery, leaving the family intrigued and curious. Throughout the years, this precious bowl had been held in great reverence, reserved for special occasions like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter family dinners hosted by the client's beloved grandmother. The rest of the time, it took pride of place, displayed prominently in her cherished china cabinet. The client's fascination with the bowl's history was evident, and she eagerly awaited any insights I could provide about this cherished artifact. I suggested that I could tell her quite a bit just from photos. A lot of time for both of us would be saved if she could just email me images of the bottom and sides of the bowl. As it turned out, she was not able to do so because the bowl was packed up with several other boxes of Grandma's things. Most of the other family members were not interested in taking any of it, and my client had just begun going through it all to put it up for auction. I wasn't sure if it was even worth the client's time and money for one item, especially with such a limited description of it other than it was very rare. Very rare is a term I hear all the time, but it is seldom accurate. I tried to dissuade her, but to no avail. We set up a time the following week for me to come out and give the piece my professional opinion. The client's home was in a new suburb just outside of town. This type of neighborhood was springing up all over the country, big houses on tiny lots with grandiose street names like Elizabeth Court and White Oak Drive. I pulled in front of her house, which was a very nice modern version of Queen Anne revival, shoehorned between its faux Georgian neighbors with circular brick driveways and coach lights bracketing the front doors. Lovely homes, but land costs being what they were, they didn't get the 1-acre lots they really deserved for their 5,000 square footprint. As I approached the driveway, my client, Jessica, was eagerly waiting at the door, already holding it open with anticipation. It was evident that she was driven by a strong desire to unravel a long-standing family mystery. Upon entering the dining room, I spotted the piece in question resting on the table, surrounded by the crumpled paper from its packing. Jessica was right. It was undeniably lovely, and though not exceptionally rare, it wasn't something commonly found in my area. However, what caught my attention was how this particular item had been used. I couldn't recall ever seeing one being utilized to serve mashed potatoes or roast turnips alongside turkey or ham. My curiosity must have shown on my face because Bonnie, mistaking it for excitement, couldn't contain herself and almost clapped her hands with enthusiasm, believing a grand Antiques Roadshow revelation was imminent. I decided to start with the good, unsure how she would react to the rest. Well, I began. It's Chinese porcelain from the Qing Dynasty, featuring the exquisite rose medallion pattern, dating back to around 1870. Comparable pieces were going for about $300 at auctions. Although many of these porcelain items lack markings, relying on them to determine age can be unreliable, as later pieces and reproductions often bear early emperor's reign marks. One telltale sign of true porcelain is its translucence. To emphasize this point, I held the lid up to the dining room window, allowing the sunlight to cast a glow through it. I let the significance of the revelation sink in for a moment before I proceeded with the unexpected twist. I must mention, though, that I believe your great-great-uncle may have played a little trick on the family, I said with a mix of amusement and caution. You see, this is actually a chamber pot, not a vegetable bowl. Initially, my client responded with complete silence, but then a mischievous grin appeared on her face, and she couldn't contain her laughter. "Oh, goodness!" she exclaimed. "It's going to be my turn to host Christmas this year." I can already imagine the expressions on my family's faces when I revealed that we've been using a Chinese chamber pot as a vegetable bowl for 3 generations, but I think I'll save that revelation until after I've served them my famous garlic mashed potatoes in it. And there you have it, an antique mystery solved from my dusty files. If you like these stories from the antique world, appraisals and identification, please like and subscribe to the channel.